Hi everyone, and welcome to this video where I'm talking about domain authority. So what does domain authority mean? Now basically domain authority is how well your website ranks on the search engines and how much traffic your website is getting. Many small businesses make a lot of mistakes when they're actually approaching getting their website built or growing their business through their website. One of the things that I see working with a lot of holistic business owners is that they assume that once they've got their website up, that they're just going to be found, and it doesn't really work like that, okay? And the easiest way I can explain what happens with a website. So when you load, you get your website created and it gets loaded up. First of all, it needs to have good SEO on it, and this is what's called search engine optimization. And if you don't have certain keywords put in certain parts of your website and the meta tags and things like that, it's very hard, first of all, for anyone to find you, okay, unless you actually give them the website domain link and you're actually directly sending them. But when you build a website, it's about not just getting the people that you're sending to, you want it to have organic traffic. And if you can imagine, the World Wide Web is just like the world, and your website is a place, and you want people to find that place. It needs as many roads and modes of transport into that place to be found. If there is no roads, no pathways, it can't be found, okay? So domain authority is basically, it has more pathways and it's getting a lot of traffic. So basically it's almost if you've started off and you're in a little remote village somewhere with no road, you start building the roads, it becomes a village, it becomes a town, it becomes a city, and a very busy city. And that is what you want to do with your website. Now, domain authority basically means that the higher the domain authority, the higher your website tends to rank, particularly for certain topics, and the more traffic that it has. So if we look at, in this, let's say a kind of chart, a graph, if you can imagine, these are all different websites, okay? And if you can imagine, they're all competing on the search engines for a particular topic. So it might be holistic well-being, alternative medicine, acupuncture, homeopathy, herbalism, healing, whatever. These are all websites with different levels of domain authority. So this one may just be starting out, and it may have some little roads to it. Okay, you may have built your links to your social media and you may be getting quite a lot through your social media, so it has some links. This one's got a little more links and more traffic, and that's the way it goes. So the higher your domain authority, the higher it ranks up. So often when we go into things like Google and different search engines, it's easier to find. The search engines will class that as a sort of high quality or authoritative site in that topic, okay? Now, very much depends on the topic, your area, and what your the purpose of your campaigns are. And someone who just wants to be visible in their local area or a particular country is going to be completely different from another site that wants to have a high domain authority international. Okay, so there's a lot of things we have to consider. Some areas of particularly holistic well-being are very, very competitive. There's a lot of people out there, so it can be very, much harder to to build that domain authority up if it's a very popular topic, that's oversaturated. So it really depends on a lot of factors. So let me explain a little bit more what domain authority means. So domain authority, also sometimes regarded as DA, DA, is a ranking score created by Moz. Now, your DA score, so your domain authority score, can range from 1 to 100. And it's related to the relevance of a website for a particular topic area, or what traffic that it's getting to that relevance. So today, particularly, Google and all these search engines change a lot of times the rules and the algorithms. At the moment, there's a big thing that, particularly holistic and health topics, the rankings are going higher for sites that have people that sort of more medically trained that write about health, because for a while we had bloggers who had no qualifications in anything to do with health writing about topics that they were not qualified really in a way to write about, if that makes sense. And I know as someone who's studied in the holistic industry for about 28 years, there is also a lot of false information out there, and it's it can be shocking what actually is wrote. So in some ways it's very good, but the only thing is that obviously what a medical doctor would often, or the pharmacy industry would say was safe or whatever, that's a completely different area of topic and subject in someone that's maybe more holistic. So this is where a lot of the holistic sites are some of them have taken away maybe a beating, they've went down because of this. Okay, so there's things that we can do to support and help the site grow, but these are all things to take into consideration. So the higher the domain authority of a site, the higher rank search engines give it, okay? And it's connected to the search engine results page, and it's called SERPs. So the higher your DA score is, the higher you have ability to rank. You'll be able to rank quite high on the search engines. Now, there are a range of things that can influence your website ranking, okay? And this is something that is really another topic again. But some of the main things that will directly, and the criteria that can affect your domain authority, is that if you don't have effective SEO. Now, what I see a lot of is people getting websites built with no SEO. The website designer doesn't tell them about SEO. And if people are new to business and haven't done any of this kind of thing before, they haven't a clue what SEO is. Okay. Also, you also have another problem. Some web designers do take a SEO package, but what they're actually doing for the website is really poor. It's not enough for that business to grow through the website. And what I've found is that most website designers really don't know much about SEO. They often don't really understand the person's business, or they're really putting general terms in, which is really not effective. So it's always worth getting someone that knows a little bit at least about SEO. And the problem is, if you don't know and don't understand it, sometimes it's understand who's actually is an expert in it, or who actually knows at least a bit about it, or who doesn't. Okay. Now, another thing is you want effective use of your meta tags, your description, your website. These are things in the website underneath, like say for example WordPress, there's parts where you put your keywords and your meta tags and your titles and your descriptions. And these have to be used and done effectively with the right keywords that people are going to put in the search engines to look for you. okay? And there's a lot of people make little small mistakes with this, okay? Also, the quality of your site content. What a lot of people do is just stick up a website, but they don't, and they write things about on their website. And first of all, they don't have enough content that gives the search engines enough kind of juice, okay? So there's not enough content on the website, or the content they wrote is not actually going to help them be found in the search engines. Now, it can be difficult sometimes to get the balance that it's readable and that it's related and you're using terms that your audience would understand, and mix that with good keywords, okay? But this is where blogging and, you know, guest blogging and articles are really good. The more that you can use your site and to create a lot of content, actually is not, you know, it's one of those things that will help your business grow in the long term. Okay, it's useful for your audience, and you know, the great thing that I like about blogs is that, you know, social media is a big way that we advertise now, and sometimes we're looking for content to share on that social media. The more content that you have on your site, you can share it on your social media, and then they're going directly back to your site where you have call to actions, you know, for sign-ups, for products, you know, to get them on your mailing list. So that's one of the advantages. Now, one of the things that's actually started to affect, you know, domain authority at the moment and, you know, rankings is actually the expertise of the authors, of the writers. I should have actually put authors or contributors there as well. So, for example, if you are writing about a lot of health or holistic articles on your site, but you don't actually have highly recognised qualifications, you maybe don't have a degree in that particular area, you don't have any qualifications, you know, what you've got to understand is the World Wide Web is very clever, and you know, if you're someone who's like a medical doctor and you have a link on your site to LinkedIn that proves that, you know, you attended, and you've got that link on LinkedIn, and you've got links other places that kind of would reinforce that you're a real doctor. These are what we call, it's like building blocks. It's almost like the dots are all connected, and that all gives evidence that you're more qualified in that area. And all these kind of links of, you know, more substantial, you know, and this person is more substantial, actually is a factor now. It's cleverly used on the search engines to put certain, you know, sites higher up where they're actually written by people who have the qualifications in certain topics and those that haven't, right? So one of the things that you want to do in your site is make sure that if you have certain degrees and recognised diplomas, and unfortunately the holistic industry, very varied, and you know, people can get diplomas that are not really diplomas. It's maybe something they've achieved in a couple of days, or from a college where normally it would be more related to a university diploma or whatever, okay? And what you want to do is, it's about giving as much evidence in your site, you know, somewhere maybe in your bio, you're about, of the qualifications. So there's that link, and you have good relevant topics that also that you put links to, maybe, for example, research papers. That's one way to support it. So if you have a blog, and you've written about a particular topic, if you link and quote things, for example, out of a medical research paper that's, you know, highly regarded, and it's got high DA on Google or whatever, these things can help a little bit. But one of the things we're seeing is that it's lowering the reach of people that are not experts in a certain area. And one example I seen when I signed up for a course, it was, a kind of SEO course, was talking about a site that had literally plummeted. I think they were getting, say it was about 250 hits a day. They were getting a lot of traffic, and they literally plummeted to quite a few thousand. And I think it was overnight. I mean, I can't be exact, but this person was just showing you an example of what happened. And basically it was a site, it was a kind of mummy's health site, and there was people writing things about different aspects of infanthood and things like remedies and things. But because most of the bloggers had no qualifications and what would be classed medical qualifications and certain certificates, it was bombed out. The site had been getting all this traffic, people loved it, and even though they were getting their usual people that would look at the site, organic traffic that was just found through Google, it just plummeted. And that gives you an example. So the more that you can write about your area of expertise, the better. Okay, and subjects that are related to your qualifications. These are the things that you want to do, the better. Okay. Now, relevant topics. So one of the things as well about domain authority is writing about topics that people are actually interested in and using keywords that people are interested in. If you're writing a lot of content that there's an oversaturation in, and that people are, there's a lot to choose from, you're not always going to get the best traffic. If you start to choose relevant topics that are maybe niche, or areas that are searched for but not written about, that will increase your domain authority. And organic traffic is basically traffic that you don't have to go and directly pay for paid advertising. You may have paid for different things to build your links and do other things, but organic traffic is traffic that you just get found on the kind of search engines. Okay, it's not directly advertised, and you can get that through a lot of the things that I've talked about and quality backlinks to higher domain authority sites. And you can do that by, one way is actually guest blogging for a higher domain authority site. Okay. Others ways is to actually get them to link back to maybe an article on your site so you may have wrote something about a particular subject that is really valuable to that site and is related to a topic they've talked about, and you might see they've got a site, a blog or an article about something, and you have more information about a particular keyword or something that's mentioned in that. You could ask them to link back. Now, often a lot of companies and organisations and businesses won't link back unless they're getting something out of it. So there's others, you can use leverage by saying that you will advertise their blog or their article, support them in some way. If you have other sites and they may be relevant, you can do maybe a 3-way link, but try and leverage it in a way that it's not just about reciprocal linking. For a long time, people were just linking back. If you link to me, I'll link to you. It's not good SEO. It can actually lower your rankings if you do that. But if you manage to get, a little backlink on a site, or there is some software. So there's one piece of software that I use called Love Comment, and I put it on some of my web pages, and it's basically when people can actually comment on some of my posts, they can actually choose to leave a link of a post, of one of the recent posts that they have written. And one of the good things about that is you can actually then approve of it. You don't just let them put anything, because that can open us up to spam. And we do, a lot of us who, particularly if you have WordPress sites, get a lot of people adding a lot of spam and things you don't want to be attached to your website. But this can be a really good way to encourage people to comment on your site and support other people. And you can go looking for articles and blogs related to keywords that you want to rank for, or websites that you want to build traffic with, by going and putting a comment on their site that, particularly if you've got things like Love Comment, and there's different ones which let you put a link to the site. So that's really a good way to do that. The key doing this is doing it in a tasteful and correct way, making sure that the comment is substantial and it's not spammy again. Again, I would say 99% of the comments that I get on my site are very spammy. They're clearly written by people who don't understand about the subject, and I just delete them because it looks really poor. But if you can get people who, if you get someone who's supporting you with your social media or your marketing, or your SEO, your content marketing, you want them to understand your business keywords and you want them to do it properly. Okay. Now, another thing that can actually affect your domain authority is your website function. If sometimes I know that I use a lot of images and high quality images in my sites, and sometimes timings and things like that and certain templates can load quite slowly, which can all affect sometimes your domain authority if there's little problems or errors on the site. If there's missing pages, I've quite a few of my sites, for different reasons, I've moved, and some have not been able to get updated the way that I wanted at the time for various reasons, and they may have old errors like old links that don't exist. So these sort of things, the more that you can fix these sort of things, that will help your domain authority. So how can you, raise and increase your domain authority? Okay, so the first thing I would say is you want to analyse your website domain authority score. So there's lots of sites that do that. A lot of them can be very expensive, but there is, ones that you can do, and you can sign up for a free trial, okay? And some do offer free things, but they only give you a certain amount of information. So, if you've not got a lot of sites, it should be quite easy to do. And, sometimes you can just use a different email or whatever. But if you go on to a domain authority checker, a ranking, something that ranks the scores, there's one that I use, SEMrush. I've just took a kind of free plan out recently, but usually you can only go in and check a certain amount. I can't remember if it's just one a day, your rankings. But basically, you can go in and check the website domain authority scoring. Now, a lot of these give you a lot. You want to go with one that tries it and gives you a lot of information. When you go on this one, this gives you different types of information. So you're getting to see exactly the backlinks that are linked to you. You get to see what they think is maybe your competitors and how many links they've got, their scoring, and and what maybe keywords that they're scoring for. And this can give you a lot of information. And sometimes you look at it and I've seen, I think, oh, is that my competition? That's not really, I would have thought they were my competition. It's just what the search engines, but sometimes it's because the keywords we're using on our site, okay, or other topics that we've got on our sites, okay. But you can check also the domain authority of a competitor, and that's one way it's quite good. So if you actually know of competitors that you want to get better rankings for, you check their domain authority. You can actually see things where their weaknesses are. So this can be a good way to see, maybe again, that sometimes there can be keywords, we see keywords being searched, and that's something you can find out in other sites, is a lot of keywords that are getting searched for that are not actually, there's not a lot of traffic for. So somebody might be checking for a topic, but there's not a lot of articles or keywords coming up for that. So that is a good way to start writing about that topic. Okay. Now, you want to also, as I said, the last, I mentioned this just briefly in the last page, was that you want to check for old links on missing pages, on website errors. This was something that I forgot about, and I actually discovered things that had been sitting on, errors that were coming up on my site of pages that I used to have a long time ago on my site. So I've tried to set up some redirects. I had a wee problem with some of them, but it's a good way to set up a redirect, because you want people who hit a link that doesn't work not to come to an error page, but to another page that's of relevance. Okay. And again, you want to check for keywords that you want to rank for. Are you ranking higher? What would you have to do to start ranking higher for these keywords? So again, look for high search keywords not used by your competition. So, keywords that people are looking for, that you can sometimes see that people are looking for keywords, but they've not really got much on it. And that is really useful, because that gives you something you can maybe start building your domain authority up for using that. Also, it's useful to look for high search keywords with low advertising cost, because it's all about getting the most out of your budget. Again, the holistic health industry is a very, very saturated market, and for certain topics, it can be very competitive, to advertise. So it's about being clever, what you're targeting, and looking, if you're going to invest in budget, marketing, that you maintain your budget, and that it actually is going to be productive for the business and bring the business in, a profit. And that's where it's very, it's important that you know your budget, and the keywords that you want to bid for. So to improve your domain authority, you want to improve your SEO, your search engine optimization. You want to use the correct words and meta tags, site content, and submit to search engines. And you want a link building and content marketing campaign. And we do that through backlink building, okay? And if you have to, three-way links, okay? Better if you do some sort of other exchange, but three-way links are definitely better. You don't want to be doing just reciprocal linking. It just doesn't. So what I mean by that is that they link to you and you link to them. It just is not, it's like you're just getting this path. What they want is pathways connected like a circle, rather than just direct back and forward. You want rich keywords on your site and relevant content on the site to, obviously, the audience. It has to be topics that your audience are interested in, and it has to be written in a way that that audience will relate to. If your audience is coming on and they want something, it's informative information, but they're looking for a certain type of topic, you've got to think of the type of person that's the other end. Some people write blogs very heavy, like more like medical content, and it's not good for the reader. It's supposed to be more relaxed, more spaced out, and easier to understand. So if you're someone who is used to writing a certain way, you may be the opposite. You may be a blogger who likes to write in a very conversational manner, but you're not actually putting a lot of information and facts, and that's what your site needs. You have to change that, okay? So again, guest blogs are great. So getting other people who write about certain topics, who are qualified in certain topics to write blogs, and they will often, obviously share the blogs, but they're getting it's a win-win because they're getting extra traffic, they're reaching audiences that would be interested in their topics, and they're giving you rich content for your site. And often, you'll encourage them to maybe do some sort of link with them for something, even it's to the social media or something else. So that's a good way to do that. And you to do guest blogs for other people, and that's where you will really build up your backlinks. And you can do backlinks in higher ranking DA relevant sites by actually looking also to check articles. Sometimes articles have links that are broken on a site, so they may have a link to a particular topic in more detail. And this is where, if you have an article about those topics, you can say, look, I've noticed that link's broken. We can replace it. We've got a really good article on that on our site. Okay. So domain authority equals your website ranking and equals traffic. So the higher your domain authority, the higher your website ranks and the higher the traffic you get to your site. Okay, so bye for now.